As a charity leader, have you ever struggled with knowing when to hire an employee versus a contractor? What was your decision-making process? What do you think is the most important factor in creating a strong leadership within your charity? Is it training, experience, or something else? What if the key to transforming your charity's leadership and HR strategy is not what you think? Stay tuned to discover a surprising approach that could change the way you manage your team. My name is Gamden, founder of Evolve Catalyst and Charity Mentor. We help small charities increase fundraising, improve their digital presence, and simplify operations. Our focus is on giving you the tools and strategies you need to grow sustainably, engage more supporters, and have a positive impact without the common obstacles that often hold charities back. Today, we are joined by Doug Bitts, founder of SureBits HR Solution, who will share his insights on effective HR strategies for charities and discuss how to promote strong leadership and maximize your team potential. This conversation will be helpful for those looking to increase employee engagement, navigate HR challenges, and build a more resilient teamwork. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more inspiring insights and practical strategies to take your charity to the next level. Doug, welcome to the Charity Leaders Catalyst Show.
Thank you for having me.
Brilliant. We're excited to have you with us today. Doug, your journey to SureBits HR Solution focuses on helping charities and nonprofits with innovative HR practices. So I am curious how your background led you to this niche and what drives your mission.
Okay, I think what drives my mission fundamentally is a desire on my part to help people and do work that is rewarding and work with organisations that share similar values to me, because I don't want to work for massive profitable corporates who want to just take shortcuts and not treat people properly. I want to work for organisations that care about their workforces but still want to get the best out of them, but might be afraid to perhaps have those conversations. Now, in terms of what got me to where I got to, a lot of it came from my own bad experiences of being an employee years ago, and me looking at a solution thinking, well, actually this could be done so much better, and there's so many quick wins here for how to create a good employee experience and to get the best out of a workforce that just so many leaders don't have the skill set to be able to implement. So that's where I thought, well, actually here's where I can help. So that sort of answers the question in terms of why I do what I do and what inspired me to get to where I've got to in terms of my own business.
Brilliant. Very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Before you continue watching this episode, I want to invite you to book your discovery call. If you are a charity facing challenges and looking for expert support to improve your digital presence and maximize your impact, we are happy to help. Visit Evolve Catalyst to schedule your call today and take the first step towards achieving sustainable growth and financial stability. Now, let's get back to the episode. You know, strong leadership is essential for any organization, and specifically in charities where resources may be limited. My question is, why is investing in leadership development crucial for charities, and how can it improve overall performance?
I think, first of all, having a good or a weak leader in place is what can make or break an organisation. And actually, I mean it in terms of leaders, because if there's no accountability or people managers aren't trained in how to lead people, it's just assumed if they get promoted, they know what they're doing and they'll figure it out, then this can be catastrophic. It can cause charities a lot of pain. And it can also help them waste time and resources where they could really be spending it on better things, like their mission as to why they exist as an organisation in the first place. So I think it's absolutely vital that we invest in training our charity leaders to support their teams and just giving them the confidence to have those conversations. And I work for several charities now on a retained basis. And what I've found just after I've taken them on is the managers are very willing to do the right thing, they want to, but nobody's ever told them how, and they've not got the confidence at the moment to have those conversations, and that's where I can really help them and come in and give them that confidence so that they know they can talk to their teams and they're confident in what they can and can't say, and they're confident to tackle small issues before they become big issues.
Brilliant, very interesting. I will just catch the last point you mentioned. People in charities want to change, want to improve their performance, and leadership is one of the main skills charity leaders and senior managers need. And you said they want to do it, but they don't know how. So what is the solution? Here is to work with a coach to help them navigate or overcome challenges. Plus, you mentioned the training, which is the foundation of building a leadership. Is that correct?
It is, and I think there's two different routes that you've identified that a leader can take here, and both of which I provide to my clients if they want me to. I think the coaching side comes from having somebody like me on tap, so that if they've got an issue, they're not afraid to pick up the phone and talk it through with somebody, because I think it's important that HR is seen as a strategic partner in a business, not just a firefighter or somebody who helps to hire and fire. It's about, can we make the organisation great? So I think, yes, having a coach to support them in those early days of leadership is absolutely vital. And then secondly, it's about having not just any training, but the right training. I passionately believe that just sending somebody on a very theoretical training course about leadership where the notes get written down and forgotten about is not going to help them in the long term. It's got to be a course that relates to the organisation and the sector they're in, which is why I've designed what I've designed, to try and help people so it's relatable and they've got instant strategies that they can implement right away that will help them and put things into practice. And I think if you combine the two things, then they've not just got the background as to why they should do it, but they've got practical help on tap as and when situations arise that will hopefully help them before things get out of control.
Brilliant. Thank you for confirming that and adding some more information. The next point that I want to talk about or to discuss it with you is getting the best from people. There is something about it I wanted to ask you about, and which is about effective HR. So my question is here, can you share some strategies a charity may use to bring out the best in its employees?
Absolutely. I think the first thing is they have to live by the values they set, because they're very good at having their mission as to why they exist and who they aim to serve as an organisation, but it's about applying those principles to the employee experience. So, for example, it's the behaviours, getting them right in terms of how you recruit staff, how you train them once they're in the organisation, how you develop them and how you help them with their career. Now, I appreciate in the charity sector there aren't endless pots of money to be able to do this, and you often have to do more with less, and the kind of people who will work for a charity are often people who are already bought into that organisation's particular mission. but it doesn't necessarily mean that without the right training they're going to be the right people to carry the organisation forward and help it fulfil its objectives. So again, it comes down to good leadership, knowing that these are the points that they need to pick up on. The worst thing they can do is just hire the person they like the most, show them a desk and leave them to get on with it and hope that they'll do all right. And believe me, so many people still do that and wonder why it doesn't go right. So it's really important in terms of strategies that managers know how to do those things in terms of development and also doing the right thing by people. And I think sometimes there's a difference between what's legally right and what's the morally right thing to do for employees as well, and for charity leaders to get that balance right in terms of investing in people, but also being careful with their time and their money in terms of how they do it.
Brilliant, very interesting, because the point is very important. If we make the mistakes at the beginning of hiring, so we will get, the disappointed outcomes. So you mentioned value, you mentioned behavior or the process of hiring people, and you are saying there should be a procedure or process in advance before hiring, so to avoid hiring the wrong people and at the same time to find the right people. Is that correct?
It is, and I think this is going to become even more important with employment law in the UK changing next year, to the point where once somebody's passed probation, they've got more employment rights than they've got at the moment. So it's not going to be so easy to exit the wrong type of people. So it's crucial that managers step up their skill set now. And in terms of helping them hire the right people, it's not just about having an HR process that ticks a box, it's about having a useful toolkit that can really help an organisation choose the right people. And for that, it's not just about finding the skills, it's about finding somebody with the right behaviours and having the interviewers well trained enough to be able to recognise those and ask the right kind of questions to see that the people are the right cultural fit and not just somebody who's got the skill set to do the day job, but they're competent in other ways as well.
Brilliant, very interesting. You mentioned another great point. Skill sets is not just the deciding factor. It's one of the main things that a charity leader should look when they hire someone. Thank you for sharing that. Before you continue watching this episode, I want to invite you to book your discovery call. If you are a charity facing challenges and looking for expert support to improve your digital presence and maximize your impact, we are happy to help. Visit Evolve Catalyst to schedule your call today and take the first step towards achieving sustainable growth and financial stability. Now, let's get back to the episode. Charities need to work with external consultants or partners who provide crucial guidance. However, knowing when and how to seek that advice is fundamental. So the question here is, how can charity leaders identify and get the best advice from external resources or partners?
I think first of all it's important to find somebody they like that can work with them. There's a lot of charity leaders will get stung by working with large national HR companies that don't understand them, and they're too big and they get inconsistent or slow advice that doesn't help them move in a timely manner. So therefore it's important to find a consultant that you like, that you can work with and who you trust to do the right thing by your organisation and look out for your best interests. A lot of charities start in a very unstructured and informal way. It could be family organisations that then become more formalised. So I've seen that one happen. Or it's that charities start off with a lot of freelancers or contractors who actually, when you look at it, shouldn't be freelancers or contractors, and you've got charities putting themselves at risk by having those models. So if they can afford it, I would say it's good to start working with somebody like me in quite an early stage, and then it could just be for ad hoc projects initially or occasional advice. But then as the charity gets bigger, they might want to consider having a more ongoing retained model where you know that the advice is on tap when you need it, and then projects can complement that if you need to do specific things to grow it. Because quite often you see charities that have grown to say 30, 40 people, but they're still behaving like it's 3 people in a back bedroom doing it in their spare time. So what I've helped to do is jump in early and help try and set the culture up and put things in place before it gets to that stage, and so that people know what they're doing and that there is the right kind of setup, and that resources, funds, etc. are used in the right way and they're not being inefficient with their time and money.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that advice. It's very important to start the right way. And you mentioned that trust here is key when you work with a consultant or a partner. And you mentioned another point, which is about to avoid informal process, hiring someone that just or relative, to avoid any complications later in. Is there anything you want to add to this point before we move to the next one?
I think it's really just about hiring the right fit, not just somebody because they're the auntie's cousin's brother of somebody who's known to you. I know that's how a lot of organisations start, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the right people. So it's important to, make sure, however you talk to them and interview them, that it's the right person. And I think also when you interview, you don't want to be robotic and just have a series of questions. You want to make it sound like a human conversation, because you are far more likely to get the true version of the person on the other side of the table relaxing and talking to you, and then in turn that will help you make a better judgment about whether they're the right fit for you as an organisation and what you want to achieve.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that as well. Sometimes a charity needs to employ someone. However, other times it requires a contractor. So deciding between hiring an employee or a contractor can be challenging for some charities. When should a charity hire an employee instead of a contractor, and what should they look into when they make a decision?
I think this has to go beyond what do they really do, because under IR35 regulations, a charity might be too small to come under that IR35, which is the financial regulation about what somebody's employment status should be. However, from an employment point of view, there's the legal test that if somebody's behaving like an employee and treated like an employee, they probably are, regardless of whether they're on a payroll or invoicing. So therefore, it's good to sometimes start with contractors because it can be a more cost-effective option. It shouldn't be seen as a way of trying to get around the proposed employment law changes either. But for example, if you hire me as a contractor, I meet that criteria because I work for multiple clients. I've got my own limited company, I've got my own insurance, and I can be a cheaper option because you don't need me full-time. So paying a certain amount of money each month for me is cheaper than having me on payroll full-time. So that's a good use of a contractor. But what you don't want to do is have somebody who only works for you, is pretty much part and parcel full-time throughout the week, and they invoice you. Because where it can get complicated is, say they become pregnant, then they're going to have employee rights for maternity leave and pay, because they're being treated like an employee, which a contractor wouldn't have. So it's really important that you do separate those out and use the right type of status. At the moment we also have a worker status as well, which is your nil hours people, which again is a good use of resources if you only need people to work occasionally and there's no right or obligation for them to accept anything offered. So I look after a charity that hires gig staff And again, that's a very good use of when to use the worker contract and not have people invoice. So it's sort of getting to know that. And again, I help charities by carrying out assessments, and we look at who's on their payroll and who's invoicing, and we help separate people and move them across if they're on the wrong type of contract. So I think that's the time to do it. And in terms of moving from one to the other, again, it depends on the size. So taking myself as an example, if a charity really grows, you stop using me and hire the equivalent of me as an employee if you get to the point where you get so big that you need me full time.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's clear and very important information you mentioned here. So it depends on the needs, the size of the charity, the budget. Sometimes if you need something maybe like weekly, not like when you need some daily tasks, so that will require an employee. And you mentioned something very important here is knowing the rules for both the contractor and the employee. That is very important. Anything you want to add here?
Yeah, I think really just to add here that as a charity leader, CEO, you don't have to figure this stuff out by yourself. You can ask for help, it's all right. You're not expected to be an expert in finance, HR, marketing, sales. And as you start an organisation and grow it, it's not a weakness to ask for help or buy in help from experts in those areas.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Now we have come to the exciting part. It's about your book. You have written a book called From New Line Manager to Great People Leader, which provides practical guidance for charity leaders. What we want here is, what are the 3 key takeaways from your book that charity leaders can apply to improve their leadership or HR practices today?
Okay, well, the book gives a cradle-to-grave kind of experience so that there will be advice there for everybody, no matter what size of organisation they are and their level. But I think, 3 different takeaways from it. I think number 1, know that support is there. You don't have to try and guess it or suffer on your own. Number 2, be aware of your processes and what you can and can't do and say, depending at what point in somebody's employee journey your team are in. And number 3, make sure that you serve your team in the right way so that you are helping them succeed. It's not about you as a leader having a big ego. It's about helping a team succeed.
Brilliant. If you can just mention them quickly as a recap. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay, I'll try my best to remember all of that because I like to do all these things off the top of my head. So I think it was know you're not alone, help your team succeed, and know the rules.
Brilliant. Very interesting rules. That are the 3 takeaways from your book. Do you have the book to show next to you?
Yeah, so in terms of finding it, it's on Amazon, so you can type in From New Line Manager to Great People Leader and it will come up. Or alternatively, you go to my website, surebetshr.com. There's a link on there for the book that will just take you straight to the Amazon page, and people can have it as a hardback, an ebook, or an audio book.
Okay, that's great. Brilliant. So they can check it on Amazon and order it from there. Before we wrap up this episode, do you have a final message you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I think really know that you're not alone if you're struggling with people issues, and know where to get help. And if I may, I have done a free scorecard that's on my website under surebetshr.com/charities, and people can click on that and do an own instant assessment. Only takes a couple of minutes, and it will help you know as a charity leader how much at risk your current practices are putting you at. So it's a free resource out there, and people are very welcome to fill it in and give it a look if they think that would help them.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. I know you mentioned your website, but I will ask you this question. Where can people find or connect with you to learn more about your organization and the work you do?
So go to surebetshr.com. Look me up on Google. I've got the reviews there. I should be quite easy to find. There's ways of people can get in touch with me through the website or follow me on social media. All the links are there. I've also got a lot of free resources on there that charity leaders can look at and download, and they can also sign up from there if they want to get weekly updates from me in terms of employment law tips and newsletters. So I try and put a lot of free stuff out there, as well as hoping that people will come and work with me and we can sort of form a partnership as well.
Brilliant. That brings us to the end of this episode. A big thank you to our amazing guest, Doug, for sharing your experience and insights, and to all of you, our dedicated viewers and listeners, for turning in. If you found value in today's discussion, we invite you to join our charity community by subscribing or following us for more insights and inspiration. Thanks again, Doug, and thank you all for being part of this journey. Until next time, keep making a difference and stay inspired.